Well done. Would you rise and stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome. February 16th, 2016 meeting. First thing on the agenda is the minutes for July the 7th and January the 16th. July the 7th the 15th and January 16th the 16th.
I'll make the motion.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then the claims, February the 4th and February the 11th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion
Forget
carries.
payroll.
Did I forget it? Okay, then I guess we're not paying anybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Approval of payroll, February the 8th.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Attorney's report. Scott?
Yes, we have, as you all three know, you've approved some additional agenda requirements to put contracts and things on the commissioner's agenda. And basically, what we're looking to do is try to streamline the process a little bit, make things a little bit smoother as far as what contracts the commissioners are getting, when they're getting them, and what is contained in them. So what we've put together is requirements for contract approval, and I think some of the bigger highlights of it, besides some of the stuff that everyone, including the elected officials and department heads, are used to, besides the E-Verify and no investments in Iran, no investments in Iran affidavit, we're also requiring that obviously we get the original signed contract, and that if things are for IT, whether it be software or computer equipment, that contract is run through IT before it's purchased, to make sure we're not either duplicating, or just to make sure that department head has some additional resources to make sure what he or she is getting herself into. As far as for those issues, same issue with the building maintenance and grounds maintenance issues. That's going to be run through the facilities director first, just so that we're all on the same page. Then also, one of the requirements is going to be is that we're going to request that, or require that, the department heads and elected officials don't have automatic renewal clauses in the contracts. Those kind of cause us a problem on the tracking end, when these things actually go away, when they don't go away, and it causes more confusion than it solves. So we're going to have that as part of this checklist of things to not be in the contracts, and also a timeline for getting things to the commissioners so that you guys have an opportunity to actually see what you're being asked to approve, and I have an opportunity to review them. So all three of you had an opportunity to review that, the requirements and the actual checklist, and basically we'll forward that out to the department heads and the elected officials for stuff they want the commissioners to approve that we normally do routinely for our contracts. I think that will help out quite a bit. I don't know if any of you had any questions on that, or...
Question?
Nope. That's all for now.
All righty.
Good work.
Do we need to vote on that or anything?
Yeah, vote wouldn't hurt.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So if you are a department head, get all the new criteria and learn it and memorize it, because we are going to follow it very strictly. So keep that in mind. If there's any department heads in here, make sure you get the new docs. Thank you.
Well, the other thing is, don't bring it on Monday thinking you're going to get it on the agenda for Tuesday, because that's not going to happen.
Well, as part of this, just to dive into that a little bit, we're basically saying the week before. So if it's the Tuesday before, you need to have it in so that we can process what we need to process within the commissioner's office to look for things that we need to be looking for, and you guys can have an opportunity to see them before the 11th hour, so to speak. And the last thing is, I mentioned IT, and I mentioned the facilities manager. The other issue was and just to clarify this issue, if this is a contract that's normally within a department's budget, that's fine. One of the things on the checklist is to point out which budget and what line item you're paying it out of. And that's really all the further we want for that. More specifically, however, if you have a contract that has a 2 or 3 or 4 year term, but you do not have a way of paying for it in years 2, 3, and 4, we may in fact require you to go talk to the council first to make sure that contract's got a way of getting paid before we're entered into it, and now we're in year 3 and try to avoid some finger pointing down the road also on that, so.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Appointments to the Stormwater Management Board. The commissioners are charged with making one appointment from each commissioner district, and then we're charged with making 2 at-large appointments. I'll start for North County. I'd like to appoint Matt Kaiser to the board.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Jeff, you want to do center?
My nomination for appointment would be Scott Severson, from Valparaiso, Indiana.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And South District.
I'd like to nominate Russell Pomeroy.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The 2 at-large seats.
I'll make the nomination for Jim Polaric and Greg Quartucci. I hope I said that right.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Let's take them individually. Any discussion? All those in favor of Matt, I'm sorry, the first name for?
Jim Polaric.
Jim Polaric, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then the second one,
Greg Quartucci.
Greg Quartucci. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Scott, the term of their service on the boards, at the at-large ones, are they staggered? What's the...
Yes, they actually are all staggered at the beginning.
Okay, all right.
So we won't have an en masse leaving of the advisory board at once, so.
Very good. Okay.
And then we have, the only appointment I think we have left, John, is the council's appointment.
Council's appointment, yeah.
And just for informational purposes, we will be putting some packages together for this new board, and we will be doing probably a board training session here in the near future, so we'd like to get everybody together and take everybody through all the new policies and procedures and everything, so that will be forthcoming if your name's on that board. So, good luck.
Very good. The only other thing I would add is that many of the people that we've nominated and have been chosen to serve on this board also have functions that occur in their normal life that would be participating with these boards. So we'd like to ask that if you are in that position, you separate the two. We don't want to use this as a lobbying position for anyone to get work from the county so that they think they can join the advisory board and become a member of that board and now start bidding on the projects that the board puts forth. Just a caution.
Well, and also, as a point of clarification, is to dovetail into that, the advisory board isn't going to actually be making those decisions.
No, they're advisory.
Yeah, they're advisory to the stormwater board, which is going to be the 3 of you plus Kevin. So I just want to be clear, there is no direct connection between the two, and frankly, the bidding and the request for and the RFPs, et cetera, would be coming from the stormwater board proper itself, not necessarily from the advisory board. So
My intention exactly not, so we don't have the distinction there.
Right.
Okay. All right, next is an ordinance establishing a fund for the proceeds for code enforcement. This is second reading. The public hearing portion is closed. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion is second for the ordinance establishing a fund for proceeds for the code enforcement. Is there a number?
1605.
1605. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Can I ask
Go ahead.
a question of Bob? Hey, Bob, when you get a chance, could you look into what we took in, sort of average over the last 3 years? What was it, John, it was on the inspections?
Oh, yeah, inspections and,
Ordinance violations.
Ordinance violation revenue, because we're looking for a little bit deeper dive on this fund to maybe give us some monies that we already have to redirect them to go into this fund that we can use for knocking down decrepit houses and other things that have been sort of popping up over the county over the years. Just give us a ballpark of what that revenue is. We're not gonna act on it, we just sort of, it's more for informational purposes than anything.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, we're gonna do a ordinance, the drainage from citizenship to the county commissioners on first reading. Bob, you wanna set the table on that, or you want Scott to do it?
That's fine. I mean, basically what this ordinance is doing, it's a follow-up to the stormwater board and the stormwater fee. We're taking the drainage board, we're required to have a drainage board, we're gonna have a drainage board. Drainage board has lots of rights of ingress and egress. They're in control of the regulated drains. So what we're going to do as part of the overall process is take the drainage board from its citizen membership back to this other option that the statute provides for, which is to have it as the county executive, which would be you three. And then at that point, once that process was complete, we would be having the drainage board and the stormwater management board meeting at the same time as co-boards to move forward with stormwater. It's more efficient. Keeps everybody on the same page, and that's why we developed the advisory board that you just appointed to allow for appointments to keep some of that institutional knowledge from the drainage board that we had. So this is the first reading of that ordinance.
You wanna add anything to that, Bob, or? No? Okay. All right, this being an ordinance will require a public hearing, so we'll open a public hearing in that regard, and anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this ordinance should come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance should come forward now. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance should come forward now. Okay, anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this ordinance should come forward now. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this ordinance should come forward now. Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this ordinance should come forward now. Close the public hearing. Discussion among the commissioners. Questions, comments, statements? Is there a motion? So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It's just the first reading, and it'll be second reading at our next meeting, which, by the way, in the month of March, this body will meet one time only, and that will be the second meeting, March the 15th. There'll be no first Tuesday meeting next month. So it'll be heard for second reading on the 15th of March. Okay, next is an ordinance establishing a fund 1182 for the deposits of proceeds from the stormwater management. This is first reading. Scott, you want to tell us about that one?
This ordinance is to create a fund to allow the proceeds from the stormwater fee to have a place to be deposited and held. Just to clarify also, the rate ordinance and this fund ordinance has requirements on what this money can be spent on. It's not being put into the general fund. It's going to be sitting in its own fund. It will act as a non-reverting fund. This will be where the stormwater management fees are held and used only for the purposes outlined in the statute and in our enabling ordinance.
Very good. I'd just like to echo that. The only comments I've really had in a negative light about this entire process have been from people that weren't really sure what was going to happen with the money. And the biggest fear, and especially this came from a lot of farmers, was that the money was going to be commingled in the general fund. And that's simply not going to happen, and we want to make that perfectly clear to everybody that this is for drainage and drainage only, and it's not going to be used for any other purposes in Porter County. So, okay, we need to open a public hearing in regard to the establishment of Fund 1182 for the deposit of stormwater management proceeds. So we'll do that right now. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance should come forward now. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this ordinance? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to ordinance 1182? Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Yes, sir, come forward.
It's not opposition, but I have a question.
All right.
Good. The funds that are dedicated to the drains as they stand now, you just answered that. But underneath the new tax system, will those taxes go into those same drain fund, or will it be a separate drain fund all by itself?
Go ahead, Bob. We're closing the old fund and putting those funds into the new fund.
Well, and to clarify, the ditch fees that have been previously collected are remaining in the place that they've always been, in that account, and they're going to remain there. This ordinance creates a fund for the new fee to be placed. So the funds are going to remain separate, and they will, the ditch fees, as we poetically call them, are going to remain there for only those purposes as outlined by statute. These, the stormwater fees, will remain in this newly created fund when they're collected.
Until they're zeroed out.
And then the intention was when the drain fee fund, say, for example, for a particular ditch out there is zeroed out, then the new stormwater user fee that we are collecting will then go forward to any kind of maintenance or work that needs to be done on that particular ditch.
Does that answer your question?
So the funding, I understand the funds are still there. But let's say now underneath the new tax base that's coming in, does that person still pay into that drain?
No.
No.
Into the fund as a whole, yeah. And I think the crust of it is, you hit right on it, is the legal drain versus all other drainage. And unfortunately, the way the old system was, the only people that paid were those that lived on a legal drain. Drainage involves everybody that lives in this county, so everybody is going to be treated equally now. So.
And what will also happen, I was going to point this out at the end, what will also happen at the next storm drainage meeting, our old board, what will happen is there will be a resolution that will be brought forward that will freeze the ditch funds from now till whenever. So the next action that the storm board needs to take is freezing those ditch fees. And that's going to happen at our next meeting, Harvey. See you there.
So, Harvey, we need your name and address for the recording, so.
Harvey Nix, 1020 South, 50 East, in Porter County, Rankin Board, Porter County, Illinois.
Thank you. So one more time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this ordinance, this is the third and final time, now's the time to come forward. Going, gone. Public hearing is closed. Is there any discussion amongst the board? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to establish Fund 1182 for the deposit of proceeds of stormwater management. This is first reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, this will be also set for second reading on the March 15th meeting. Okay, now we have to amend the stormwater fee appendix. Scott, you want to take that one?
Bob, I think you could probably explain this one a little bit better.
Yes. This is going to be amending Chapter 14.12, the Stormwater System User Fee, which was Ordinance 15-19. There was two sections in there that we're asking to be amended. The very first one is the appeal that was listed on the original Ordinance 15-9. We have changed the wording with the appeal. Most notably is the fact that there's an appeal process that will be going in underneath the rules and procedures that will be hopefully adopted by the Stormwater Management Board later. So that section was changed to reflect that the appeal process is under the rules and procedures, and then we amended Appendix Appendix A is the actual fee table based off of the tax land codes. We didn't change the fees. What we did is we reorganized this chart at a suggestion of the LAO and also the auditor's office to make it easier for people to interpret and go across. So, again, there's been no changes, but what we did is we added what the actual ERU was, what the actual monthly fee was, and then what the yearly fee was onto this chart.
Very good. Now, this is an amendment. Do we need a public hearing, Scott?
Yes.
Okay, we'll open up public hearing about the amendment for the stormwater fee appendix. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this amendment? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this amendment? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this amendment? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this amendment? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this amendment? Third and final time, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this amendment? Hearing none, public hearing is closed. Comments, questions, discussion from the commissioners? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is an amended stormwater ordinance.
To make this make a little bit of sense, we had the original enabling ordinance that created the Stormwater Board. Within that enabling ordinance, there was a paragraph concerning the appeal process. And then the ordinance we just amended, there was a paragraph in what I call the rate ordinance that had some language about the appeal process. What we basically have done is said, to make it clear and to streamline that process, we're amending both of these to basically refer to the rules and procedures. The appeal process will be underneath the rules and procedures for the Stormwater Board, which we will be asking for you to approve at the 2 o'clock Stormwater Board meeting. So that's why it seems like we're doing the same thing twice. It's because we actually did it in two original ordinances, the enabling ordinance and then the rate ordinance.
Very good. Okay, so we need a public hearing in that regard. Okay, we'll open our public hearing on the matter of the stormwater ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this amendment? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this amendment? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this amendment? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this amendment? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this amendment? Third and final time, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this amendment? Seeing none, we close the public hearing. Comments, questions, and a motion if there's one.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of $500,000 loan from the hospital interest to stormwater.
Basically, what this is that obviously the first stormwater fees are not going to be collected until after the first tax bill goes out, and all of that is settled. We're trying to get our feet on the ground and running as quickly as possible, knowing that we have this fee and we want to get these projects started as quickly as possible. This will allow us to start the process of getting the employees hired that we need to, and getting some projects underway as quickly as possible. The idea would be, and again, at the stormwater meeting, we would be passing a resolution that upon those taxes being collected, or the fee being collected, that this would be returned and refunded back to the hospital interest account. This is just a bridge to be able to get us moving and not waiting.
Yep.
And I believe it's also on the council's agenda for their February 23rd meeting. So this would be your guys' opportunity to agree with that or not.
And we have had some discussions with the council, and they're aware that this is coming, so this is no surprise to them. So I think obviously they have to take action, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And it would be, again, it's a loan, so it'll be paid back, and whenever...
Short-term loan.
Yeah, whenever everything is balanced out and can be paid back, so...
I'm certainly hoping they find us credit-worthy. Sorry. We don't need a public hearing on this. No.
I'll make the motion to approve the $500,000 loan.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Not going to cause a problem for you, is it, Vicki?
No,
Okay,
no.
good. Approval of contract for Attorney Scott McClure as the Porter County Attorney. You all have a copy of the legal services agreement. Any questions?
Appreciate the work you're doing already. I'll make the motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mike Dabo, GLZ, video tech for the jail security system.
Commissioner Evans, I'd like to just make a statement. Over the last several months, we've done a lot of the people in here have done a lot of work on the stormwater fee, and I'd like to thank Vicki Urbanic in the auditor's office for a lot of the work that they've done, because they have some heavy lifting here, and they really stepped up and took the bull by the horn. So thank you, Vicki, thank you, your department.
Yes,
Thank you. I'll echo that.
very good. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Commissioners.
Well, you want to talk about cameras and stuff, or what?
Yeah, this will be a two-part. One, I worked on the contracts with Videotech, and Attorney McClure worked with the leasing, so I will start off. Attorney has, and he's reviewed, it's a AIA document between the County Board of Commissioners and Videotech Corporation of Highland, Indiana. This is for the jail security system in the amount of $1,062,018.00. Went through the selection process. It's taken this while to iron things out, get the lease agreement. So, there are two documents today we're recommending that you approve. One is this contract between the Commissioners and Videotech. And there's a second document that Attorney McClure will discuss that's attached to this that will provide for the payments for Videotech and for you for a lease purchase.
Yeah, and then I'll just jump ahead real quick, because I think you guys can deal with this pretty quickly. The Horizon lease is the financing that we're doing. It's the exact same terms that Videotech had originally proposed when they did this process. It's all in good form. I've reviewed the AIA contract between Videotech and the county. That's in good form, and I think this gets us going and gets that project started as quickly as possible, which I think will be very shortly, actually.
Good. Questions, comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion for Videotech for the jail security system, we'll do them one at a time. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then is there a motion for the Horizon lease for Videotech jail security system?
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. Discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. We will have the bonds to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Should mention that this project will really put the jail back in at least the 20th century, and we'll see if we can get moving forward.
We're going to be in the 21st.
Okay, office holders and department heads. John Snyder, Porter County Assessor.
He was here there. That one's off.
Off?
Yeah.
Major Gear from the Sheriff's Department, receiving open bids for a 2016 Ford Interceptor sedan, 2016 Ford Interceptor Explorer, 2016 Ford Transit, 350 LWB low roof cargo man. And the sheriff's here too. How many do you have?
We have two bids.
All righty.
First one's from Curry Motors Ford of Valpo, and the second is from Lakeshore Ford of Burns Harbor.
What happened to state bid, or don't they do that anymore?
Yeah, they still do, however, because our fleet is mainly just Ford right now, it's just, right now it's more efficient, and they're a much better quality than the state bid, which is a Chrysler product.
Because we have so many varieties, I think we'll just open them, give them to you, and let you come back with your recommendation. You want to do that by the end of this meeting, or do you want to do it at the next meeting?
And this meeting's fine with me.
Very good. And as Vicki said, the first one here is from Curry Motors Ford of Valparaiso. They bought the old place, yeah. And then the second one is from Lakeshore Ford in Burns Harbor, Indiana. So if you want to just take those and go over them, and then remind me before we close this session, and come back with your recommendations, okay? Sharon Lippens, IT Director of Comcast Business Service Order Agreement to replace the existing internet from Frontier DSL to Comcast.
Hello.
I know we've talked about this several times, and it's going to be also a cost savings, right?
It will be. Basically, this is for the North County Highway Garage. They currently have Frontier Internet, which is about 50% of the time it's working, 50% of the time it's not. We don't really get much resolution when we complain to Frontier, so in an effort to resolve that, as well as upgrade their phones to match the existing county VoIP phones, bring them into the family, we will be putting Comcast Internet in. It will give them faster, more efficient service, more reliable service, and it will also reduce our monthly cost by nearly $150 per month.
Good. We love saving money.
That includes their Frontier Internet and 4 phone lines, which one of them, I think, is their alarm. We have upgraded our alarms around the county from landlines to cellular. There's a $5 fee per month, which is included in this price I gave you, and that has proven to work perfectly. We've had several accidental alarms, and we've gotten reports every time, so we're in the process of moving those and getting the last of the analog faxes off as well to reduce that cost.
Very good, thank you. Questions, discussion, comments? For a motion.
Saving money. I'll make the motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then we have a videotech, the monitors for the judges' chambers at Valpo Portage Courthouse.
I do. The ones at Portage were actually done this morning. We had an emergency last weekend, not this past weekend, weekend before. NIPSCO, I believe, upgraded a meter out there, had to take the power down. When power came back on, one of the TVs blew. These are old tube-style TVs. They were little 9-inch TVs that sat so the judge could monitor the courtroom before their entrance, just to check the demeanor of the people coming in, make sure there wasn't a ruckus going on before they actually entered the courtroom. So we went ahead and moved forward with getting Portages repaired or replaced right away, and then now we have the agreement here for your approval, as well as for the courthouse. They've been going in and out. They fade in and out. They're 10 years old. These were originally put in when the video security was put in 2006. So they're 10 years old.
Questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion to do the monitors.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Vicki Urbanik, Experian Data Quality Contract Electronics Update. Oh, you could have stayed where you were.
Oh.
That's right.
It's actually a renewal of a contract that's been in place for a number of years in the auditor's office. This is a software that provides address lookup. It's a supplemental address lookup tool that we have, and this is used every day in the auditor's office. And what it does is, it's actually quite neat. Say we get a deed that we need to process, if the deputy types in the address and there's something wrong with the address, a warning comes up, and that alerts the deputy to look deeper into this address. And just last week, we corrected a pretty major address problem on a title. And so that will help the taxpayer in the long run.
Great.
And this is going to be coming out of my budget.
Really?
Yes.
That's good, too.
And I just want to point out, when this originally came over, it did have an automatic renewal in it, and Vicki went back and got that taken care of, so we started that process that we talked about earlier, so now she can deal with that on a yearly basis.
It's working.
Yes.
Okay. Questions, discussions, comments, statements? Motion? So moved. Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Okay, thank you. And also, I want to commend you for the language on the contracts. I think that's really important. It should help remind department heads of the need to bring their contracts to you, and I...
In a timely fashion?
Correct. Yes, none of this last-minute stuff.
Should help your office a little bit, too, right?
Yes, yes. And I've noticed that Michelle has improved the process, that when you approve contracts, we make sure that all contracts get sent over to the auditor's office, but it has a summary sheet over the top, and it helps catalog the contracts as well. And I also think that the language urging departments to get their contracts reviewed by IT ahead of time is extremely valuable. I have found that the help from IT has been just extraordinary, and in many cases it saves money. Okay, so thank you.
Okay, Sharon, pay for the commercial. Okay. All righty, thank you. Okay, Cindy Shu and voters registration. I don't see her, but she had a request for polling locations. We'll go ahead and hear it anyway. Portage 9, from Portage City Hall to Portage Library, and Portage 24 and 35 from the Presbyterian Church to the Portage High School.
You never know.
These are just housekeeping matters so that the changes can be recorded before the primary election. So, any discussion, questions?
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the treasurer had previously put on our agenda, and I had removed for some of the issues we've discussed already a couple times. She has, again, she's fixed all of those issues, and basically it was auto-renewal type issues. But she has a payment processing agreement that I've reviewed. It's been in your packets, I believe, at the previous meeting. If we could approve that, it is in good form, and I appreciate the work she did. And I actually have in my hand the original signed agreement, so it's all in good order.
You're aware of our new checklist?
I am.
I think you were the first one.
She was.
Okay.
I had to put the rules before we approve them.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Sorry to make you sit there and wait. Come on up, Gary. We'll do you now. So who do you want to buy your cars from?
Well, the lowest bid was, and also would like to go with them, was Lakeshore Ford.
Lakeshore Ford.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were about $2,300, $2,400 a car difference.
Okay. Very good. You know my rule, right?
Buy one, get one?
Buy one, get rid of one.
Sell one.
Sound like some kids.
Not $80.
That's normally my mix.
All right, just making sure.
We'd like to get 9 vehicles if we can.
Okay. How's that fit into our CCD budget? Is that, we're still working?
Yeah, it would be,
Okay.
we'd still be under the budget, and there is some wiggle room there for anything out there.
You're not gonna crash any all year?
Not trying to.
Thank you, by the way, for your emails, keeping us up to
Yeah.
date.
I'm trying to, yeah.
It's really
I'll keep you
helpful.
coming, hopefully not.
Yeah, they're helpful.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, we have recommendation from the Sheriff's Department to make their purchases through Lakeshore Ford for, how many did you say?
9.
Nine vehicles. Any questions, discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. This is to come from our CCD fund specifically designated for this type of purchase. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You get these back?
No, well, Michelle, you need them, don't you?
The goods,
They go to audit. Okay.
I'll take them.
So if you, yeah.
We gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, they can't stay here. Okay, correspondence. We have on file the treasurer's monthly report for January 31st, 2016. We have a request for approval from Mike Carbine of the Valpo Vets for use of the courthouse grounds for the 38th annual car show. The show date is June the 18th, 2016, from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. Is there somebody here for this? Nope. Okay. This, as it says, is the 38th annual. I think they have cars that will be in this show that were probably new the year they started, so. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Excuse me, request for additional appropriation. This is Commissioner's budget, Fund 1112.2092, $2,500, account 3620. This is for veteran services. The money wasn't...
Bet, like,
Vet, not veteran.
Yeah, sure, vet.
Like space.
Okay, the money was encumbered for the purchase order, later canceled in 2015. Invoices were paid out of a different budget, so this is to reimburse that budget, correct?
yeah, it's kind of trap and release program.
Veterinarian, yeah, services, that's it.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, did I miss anything? Once again, a reminder that this body will only meet one time next month, and that will be March the 15th. Is there anyone who wishes to address this body? Anybody wish to talk to us? Going, we stand in recess.